after the horror game arrived. Every player will live with the anomalies. Humans have not only become the bottom of the food chain, it also became currency for items exchanged between the strange. And there are no deaths in the game. Once eliminated, you will fall into even more terrifying dungeons. Players want to survive. He had to complete the strange mission he had set up. This is to gain a strange favor, while the other players were tormented by the succubus. But I picked up the hammer. He pounded the succubus's beautiful face again and again. The succubus not only didn't get angry, he also told me to step up the effort. This is because each player receives an entry at the start of the game. The entry I obtained was for glimpsing all the strange hidden information. And the hidden information of the succubus before them. She has a strong masochistic tendency. I love it. At that moment, a virtual panel popped up before my eyes. Welcome to the spooky world. Matched you with the initial copy Crimson apartment. After dawn, the eerie church awakens. Please take your time to familiarize yourself with your surroundings. Uncover strange information. This can increase your chances of survival. After leaving the room, I saw 2 other players eating sticky food. From a brief exchange I learned this. The 3 of us here play the role of children. The other 3 strange creatures play the roles of father, mother, and grandmother respectively. They want to live in this house and obtain food. He had to complete those 3 strange tasks unconditionally every day. Not long after, the mottled pendulum clock struck. It rang out 6 times. 6 in the morning means dawn. The strange thing woke up the 2 who were still eating just a moment ago. The next second, it was as if soldiers heard the whistle of the assembly. He quickly ran toward the dormitory corridor. I followed the past. A foul stench of rot was detected in the air. At the same time, a hoarse sound like a torn vocal cord rang out. A faint sound came from the pitch-black passage. Today a new child has arrived. Come to my father's room. Let my father take a good look at his health. After hearing the strange father's voice, Dong Chu and Lu Yitong both felt a jolt in their hearts. Then he looked at me like a sullen god. According to Lu Yitong's introduction, among these 3 strange creatures the mother has the fewest minds. She was especially fond of her children. No need to worry about the relationship deteriorating. It's all because of an excessively distorted motherly love. It often triggers headache-inducing and dangerous tasks. Next is Grandma. Perhaps it was because Lu Yitong had a talent for increasing affection. Grandma doted on her alone. She doesn't have much affection for male players. The father with the most troubles is his bad temper. Eccentric personality. He especially dislikes his own children. Some even deliberately nitpick the weak points. Previously, most players were stuck near the strange area. Under the watchful eyes of Dong Chu, Lu Yitong, and Song Zhongshe, I braced myself and walked into the dim room. I had just come in. The door immediately closed tightly on its own. At that moment, my strange father was grinning at me. Do you know who this is? My brother or sister, I guess. Quite clever. There are still many of your brothers and sisters here to see. Do you know why they all stayed here? They made you, father, angry. So you know I have a bad temper. I don't like being disobedient or incompetent. A child who is still clumsy in their work. For example, I called you for so long. Why only come in now? Cut off one of your ears. Next time, learn lesson. I instinctively wanted to step back, but I stared at the skull in my hand. But then his eyes flickered. He quickly steadied himself. He let that big hand grab it. In the end, Das Ho was not harmed. I happily took it back. No intimidation effect was observed. Strange. My father's squinting eyes turned somewhat sinister. I'm kidding you. Why didn't you react at all? Was frightened and dumbfounded. If I had just dodged, or showing panicked behavior, then he would really take off one of my ears. And that's thanks to my attribute talent. I stared at the skull in my hand. A red panel popped up on it. Players touch items. Triggered talent, omniscient and all-round. Obtain hidden information. A strange and unusual kind. Nightmare eating strange powers. Likes to intimidate players with fear points. And used this as food. The more fear points you get from being eaten, the sharper the player's mental awareness and physical abilities decline. Fatal weakness. A dagger of resentment that had stabbed him in life. My eyes flickered. Where would this grudge dagger be? If I could get my hands on them. At least he had an extra trump card to save his life. I didn't think much about it. The first thing now is to leave the room alive. Lately, my legs have been hurting quite a bit. Find a way to get a drug called blood pipa delivered to the room before dark. Without medication, I'll use you to relieve the pain. Useless children don't deserve to stay in this room. I don't know what the blood pipa is, but anyone who thinks can know. It's definitely not that simple. Got it, father. I nodded in agreement. Then the door behind me opened a crack. Only then was I able to leave the room. Haha. Congratulations to the player for successfully accepting the quest. Find the item before 6 p.m. Shwepipa was sent to her father's bedroom. Completing the mission grants a C-level reward. Mission failed. Fathers will be punished with 30 minutes of lifeless missions. Hear the punishment. I frowned. Although it shows that punishment does not kill you. But these punishments can be even more painful and tormenting than death. If you say there's no pressure, that must be fake. At this moment Dongchu and Lu Yitong were there. They also came out of the bedrooms of their mother and grandmother. The moment they saw me, their faces showed surprise. You actually came out so quickly. What parts fell from the body? What part should I drop? How do you do it? Dongchu entered his father's room for the first time. A kidney was all taken away. The father's monster likes to make things difficult and intimidate players. But in reality, there was a hidden rule in this apartment. It restrains strange, bizarre, and uncontrollable damage to players. Players can only be punished by failing assigned tasks. So psychological resilience is key. Damn it. I wonder what kind of crazy old lady is today. Said the dentures were broken. She wants me to make her a pair. The mission was rated as A-level. A-level missions have a mortality rate as high as 50%. Because dentures can only be found on the 5th floor. And in this apartment, the higher the floor, the more terrifying the residents. Fortunately, my mother's ghost has always had quite a bit of affection for me. He only told me to go downstairs and borrow a bottle of soy sauce. The system rated the task as C. What about you? What tasks were assigned? I'm fine too. It's also a C-level mission. That ghost told me to find a medicine called Shwepipa to cure it. This bloodstain pipa is in room 101 of the apartment. But before you. For players have already been assigned this task. Only one returned alive. The only one who came back looked decades older. There was not a trace of flesh or blood on his body. After just a few words, the person was gone. So I suggest you think about other paths. Room 101 is a man-eating monster. I figured it wouldn't be that simple. But after hearing Lu Yitong's words, my expression still looked a bit grim. Anyway, I still need to check out room 101. There's no way he could be intimidated by just a couple of sentences. According to Lu Yitong's location, I hurried through the filthy hallway. Soon, they made it down to the 1st floor of the apartment. At the entrance of room 101, there were still 2 players waiting for quite some time. Meanwhile, the door to room 101 slowly opened. A man's head poked out from inside. Here to do the mission, right? Come in and line up. After saying that, the man turned sideways and opened the door. Looking at the room pitch black like an abyss. The 2 players mustered their courage and walked inside. But when I was the last to step into the house, suddenly he felt a stabbing pain in his lower back. Looked down. He actually got pricked once. Watching the man expressionlessly withdraw the syringe, I was just about to say something. What followed was a dizzying fainting. I don't know how long it has been. I shivered from the bone-chilling cold. When I opened my eyes, he found himself in a pitch-dark room. I was just about to move. He found his hands and feet chained. Turn your head to look. The other 2 players who traveled with him received the same treatment. What is the situation? We are the guests. You're breaking the apartment rules. Do you know what the consequences are? Hurry up and undo those damn shackles. Even the 2 veteran players were stunned. It was the first time I encountered such a bizarre mission. At the start, you give them a shot right after entering. When he woke up, he was already roasted. Who plays games like this? The man in white said nothing either. Just eating, while quietly watching the 2 of them shout. Only I remained quiet. He quickly surveyed his surroundings. In several corners, I saw several shriveled skeleton. Obviously, these are all previous players. At that moment, the man in white stopped eating. He pulled a paper tiger from his pocket and put it on his belt. Then, without warning, it smashed onto the middle-parted man's head. Again and again. Until the southern exit line of the central part. Introduce yourself. My name is Chung Fong. Players living in room 101. Noticing the surprised looks between me and the tank-top guy, Chung Fong waved her hand. He put on a helpless expression. Don't look at me with that perverted gaze. I am also a hard-earned worker. Beat him to death firstly to make you quiet down. Second, that ghost doesn't like skinny ones. Not very nutritious. I need to filter out inferior products for him. Listen to these two bizarre reasons. The tank top guy instinctively glanced at me. It seems to mean that this isn't the same skin. The city defense also glanced at me. He was relatively quiet. I'll make a long story short. It's actually very simple. Do you see the room behind me? Go in, come out. Your task is accomplished. At this moment I finally spoke. It's easy to get in, but coming out probably won't be so easy. The city defenses were not concealed either, pointing to those shriveled holes in the corners that wouldn't come out. Just like this. Don't worry. My job is to handle the body. You won't be able to get out. I'll try to bury you somewhere better. You should serve that Giji inside. Not only can they leave alive, you can also get the quest items you want. Speaking. Suddenly, the door behind him opened a crack. Chang Feng hurriedly ran to the door. He put on a very attentive smile. Is the owner satisfied? Inferior goods continue to be sorted and sent in, until I am satisfied. Got it. Immediately, the city defense dragged out another shriveled skeleton from the room. He carefully closed the door. Then Chang Feng looked at the two of us. This is an example of someone who can't get out. And you are very unlucky. That ghost had an unusually high desire today. 5 have already been sent in consecutively. Not satisfied yet. Next, you all need to go in. Whoever comes first. What kind of ridiculous mission is this? Is clearly going to die. Let me go. I give up this task. Give up on you. From the moment you walk in. The task was already set. Once the mission is set, there is no turning back. During the mission, no matter what happens to the player, it doesn't count as breaking the apartment rules. Unlike the tank top guy who shouted and shouted. I asked calmly and in a low voice. So what exactly is that monster inside? I don't know what kind of trickery it is. All he knew was that the female demon had bottomless desires every day. Men are not just her nourishment. It is also a necessity. Isn't this just a succubus? Succubs like these small fry just need a bit of kidney damage. The one inside is except for the bones. But everywhere. Xie Changfang wanted to nag a bit more. Suddenly, a cold, impatient voice echoed through the room. Xiaocheng, your efficiency has been getting slower lately. I'm considering whether to find someone to take your place. Master, I'm sorry. I'll send it in for you right away. Don't blame me. They're all players. I want to live too. Back when I entered this dungeon. From the start, he lived under the same roof as that ghost. Hey, no one is more desperate than me. I was full of doubts. But haven't you still survived until now? Chang Feng is a man too. Why didn't that female ghost make a move against her? Because someone needs to handle the body. He was then allowed to take over the position. Survive until now. Anyone can do this. That's a bit far-fetched. This Chang Feng might know some ways to win over that female ghost. I know what you're thinking. I can live to this day. There is no strategy at all. It was pure stroke of luck. Hearing this, I became even more puzzled. What shit luck? My talent stats are the most useless. Low-level players have no privilege advantage in this dungeon. But it worked very well against that female ghost. It also saved my life. This talent entry is a special skill. Everyone is a man. No need for me to explain further. You know that too, right? Although my combat strength is lacking. But the hardware is better than any other player. That left me speechless. These stats and talents really come in all shapes. All the skills are here. Is this how the idiom is explained? Then I looked at the tin table nearby filled with all sorts of props. What kind of props were those used to serve that female ghost? Don't be surprised. It's exactly what you think. The female ghost was in high spirits. He played with it in a way that was truly perverse. Can shatter your worldview. In fact, you don't need to use the multiplication method. I could pretty much guess what I could guess from the toys on the table. But at this moment, I saw hope in those props. Those are all used. The unlucky ones before number 4 used it. Didn't you see it's still wet on top? Chang Feng was still puzzled by what I meant by that question. The next second, she saw me grabbing the chain. He picked up those props with his hands. He began to examine it closely. What are you doing? Observe and observe. Chang Feng choked for a moment. He saw me pick up one item after another. He couldn't help but caressed. His eyes were still shining. A hint of surprise even appeared on his face. She shook her head. He couldn't help but say, I originally thought that female ghost was already perverted enough. I didn't expect there to be an even more perverted one. At this moment I was indeed pleasantly surprised. On those props, I successfully triggered the talent. Omniscient and fully understood. One hidden piece of information after another about that female ghost are being continuously analyzed. Accompanied by a quick browse, I obtained hidden information. My expression gradually became more and more exciting. Before long, the door opened again. It's over so soon. It's been less than 5 minutes. It's not enough. Keep bringing me in. I want more nutritional supplements. What went wrong with this female ghost today? So it goes on. They wouldn't even spare me an old employee, would they? At that moment, I took the initiative to walk toward Chung. Help me untie the iron chain. Send me in. It was Chung Feng's first time meeting her. Players who don't need to be forced to adapt to it a bit. You're so proactive that I can't even handle it. He was really in a hurry to die. The next dungeon just needs to meet his needs. You can't be satisfied. But you can't. I have such amazing talent. You say I can't. Facing the city's prosperity. I did not respond. He pushed open the door and stepped into the pitch-black room. At this moment, the room was filled with numerous props. You can even see blood-stained icicles and hammers. At first glance, I thought it was the scene of the first murder. I was looking around. Suddenly, a brutal force surged forth. My whole body was flipped to the ground. A strange smell filled his nose. At the same time, a beautiful face appeared before his eyes. How did you lose such a guy in here? Since there were no good ones left. Then let Xiao Chung in. He could only endure a little. Honestly, I really can't bear to part with Xiao Chung Chuliang. I kept my hand hidden beneath me. Suddenly spoke. If you don't try, how do you know I'm no good enough? I'm no worse than the one outside. He also has something good on him. Do you want to take a look? Is it? How can I not see it? If you can't see it, that's right. Here's it. The words fell. Mei Gui had just looked up. The hand I was hiding behind twitched. Gripping a hammer tightly, it slammed fiercely onto the flawless face of the inner ghost. Blood splattered instantly. I didn't pause for a moment. He smashed it over and over at Mei Gui's face. He swung a full 20 times below before stopping. Panting, I looked at the demon lying on the ground. His expression was tense. The tension wasn't because he worried that Mei Gui was dead. These ordinary items couldn't cause any damage to the strange beings. At this moment, Mei Gui slowly stood up. The terrifying wound on his face visibly healed. This is your big baby. Yes, how does it feel? Not to mention, it's pretty thrilling. I actually liked this feeling unexpectedly. But it's not enough. The words fell. The hammer had already been thrown at the insider Gui's face. He smashed his entire slender body over. I quickly picked up a chainsaw from the table. The chainsaw in his hand was raised and fell. The terrifying sound of chainsaws mixed with the sound of flesh being torn apart, forming a scalp-tingling symphony. From hidden information obtained outside the house, I already guessed. This enchantress has a strong masochistic tendency. Pain can make him unusually hyperactive. It stimulates his mental pleasure. And even Mei Gui herself hadn't noticed this. He frequently enjoyed torture and exploiting his prey. Accumulating day by day and month by month, my mind gradually became numb, becoming increasingly unsatisfied. No matter how perversely he treats his prey, are hard to satisfy. Until now, I turned it into the reverse operation of prey. Instead, it opened the door to a new world for him. The bloody scene in the room continued. Looking at Mei Gui's flushed red face, still looking dissatisfied and wanting to be satisfied. I dare not be negligent. He quickly reached for the scattered props around him. Attend to everything you can serve on the other side. No one knows what prop he was holding. Suddenly, an information panel popped up in his line of sight. Players touch the execution instruments hidden in the haunted house of Satan. Successfully triggered rare hidden information for talent level. Accumulate 10 skull-shattering critical hits on the bazaar. Can completely activate the strange item. Comes with a cursed soul burn effect. The haunted house is an equipment item that players provide. There is a wide variety of props. Damage, defense, survival, support, and everything you could want. Some advanced strange creatures are even more valuable than talents. Strange objects can deal true damage to anomalies. I'm worried that using this might kill Mei Gui. But worry aside, my hands showed no weakness at all. Just as Mei Gui was about to wake up from her intoxication, I smashed it with all my might onto that bright red face. That blow shattered half of his head. The shattered wounds gave rise to billowing, thick white smoke. The inner ghost let out a painful scream. My heart skipped a beat. Just when I thought the demon was about to go berserk and rage, that piercing scream turned into a high-pitched, exhilarating sound. Seeing this, the corner of my mouth twitched slightly. It seems he still underestimated the perverted level of this female ghost. Worrying is all unnecessary. Realizing that the strange object in his hand wouldn't kill the opponent. The results are even excellent. I completely let go and kept greeting him again and again. If the enchantment can be activated after 10 skull crushes, there is no more suitable trick candidate than the one at hand. This is simply a perfect damage farming puppet. After more than 10 minutes of bloody headshots, I sat down wearily against the wall. The hammer in his hand turned a bright crimson after tempering. Successfully activated the enchantment effect. He stood up once again. Fortunately, after 11 consecutive skull breaks, the frenzied desire of the inner scheming had faded. That breathtakingly beautiful face, the blush fading, covered in a layer of frost. In just 1 minute before the Emperor, she looked like a completely different person. She sat on a chair. He lifted those proud long legs. He casually tossed over a bag of bags. This is a small extra tip for you. Your service is excellent. I haven't had this much freedom in a long time. And I looked strange. For some reason, it felt like he was selling it himself. Under a strange sense of humiliation, I opened the bag. Inside were some common rations, bread, compressed biscuits, and some unknown jerky, although it was all coarse grains. But in the strange world, this kind of human food is already considered a luxury food. Tell me, what kind of blood pipa do you want to borrow? You are the child of 400 for that damn drunken ghost. Yes, my father's leg hurt badly. He wanted me to come here to seek medicine. Who told you that's medicine? That guy who was addicted to alcohol. All day long I think about my little liquor. I didn't expect even a ruse of self-sacrifice would be used. Why didn't he just say it directly? The tasks are mandatory. Cutting the pipa, is it wine or medicine? Players must complete it. Why waste unnecessary effort on this? Prevent you from having other thoughts. He never expected you to come back alive. Because from the very beginning you were just a commodity. I made a deal with that guy. Just bring a child over. I will reward him with half a bottle of blood red pipa. In other words, this is a single supply chain. For once the player refreshes, Nightmare Eater Gue will use quests to lure players to 101. Treat me as a supplement. Not just taking what they need. And not breaking the apartment rules. Then Megue tossed a bottle the size of soy sauce over. I hurriedly caught it. According to the deal, they should only give half a bottle. I'm in a great mood today. Giving you a full screen. Take it back and report it. I stared at the liquid in the bottle. It looked very sticky. I couldn't help but feel a bit curious. What kind of wine is this? To make that nightmare devourer so greedy. If you're curious, you can sneak a bite. But if anything happens after tasting, it's not my fault. And you absolutely won't guess. What did I use to brew this wine? Listening to Mei Gui's slightly teasing voice, I shivered inexplicably. I don't dare to think about it. I wasn't interested in thinking about it. He just wanted to complete the task honestly. It's best to kill the nightmare devourer Gue. I asked, can I go? Afraid that this female demon would become too obsessed with him. Forcibly leaving yourself here. It became her fixed necessity. Mei Gue really wanted to. However, game missions include mandatory eerie elements. Being an NPC does not affect the situation. Violations will also be punished. Let's go. But I'm still quite curious. How did you find out I have this tendency? There's no need to say this kind of thing. Sometimes you can tell with just a glance. Looks pretty honest. I never expected her to be even more perverted than I am. The door behind her slowly opened. As soon as I turned around, a meaningful farewell came from the enchanting ghost. Penis. See you next time. I didn't respond. Even a fool would meet again. He turned and left the unsightly room. Got that dead wine monster. Dad. You can't run away. I'm sure you'll eat it. Still sly, he licked the corner of his mouth. Gently stroked the wound healed on the cheek. The eyes are blurred. Gradually, I savored the aftertaste. The door opened. Chung Fong, who was still thinking about clearing me out. He came over with a cart and trotted over. But when I saw that it was me, he was instantly dumbfounded. Damn, are you human or a monster? Do I look like a ghost? You didn't kill that female ghost, did you? Not right. Impossible, you must have taken advantage of some loophole. I said sincerely. I said it before going in. Just satisfy that ghostly creature. It seems to be to prove my point. A sinister voice came from inside the room. Xiao Chung. Clean the room. I went to sleep. Chung Fong quickly replied. That time, the way he looked at me completely changed. The inner trick falls into a deep sleep every time its desire fades. Often, they sleep for several days at a time. This period was also the most comfortable time for the city. If there's nothing else, I'll be leaving now. I grabbed the blood pipa and turned to leave. Chung Fong hurriedly grabbed me. His eyes were filled with admiration. Bro, don't rush to leave. Can you tell me what hidden guide you discovered? That way, I'll trade 5 days worth of rations with you. For players fixed at 101. Chung Fong was constantly on edge when facing the treacherous insiders every day. If he could find a way to subdue Meiguei, that would be a one-time solution. And naturally, I wouldn't reveal the method I worked so hard to make. Everything loses its freshness. This Meiguei might have to deal with him again next time. He informed the city defense. This guy is what he relies on. The new continent Meiguei had just discovered would soon become numb. It definitely won't work next time. This cuts off their own escape route. No strategy, pure skill. I said, having good talent is useless. Firepower must be sufficient. Otherwise, no matter how talented you are, they're just for show. Leaving this sentence behind, I turned around and left, soon back to 404. Lu Yitong and Dong Chu still hadn't returned. I walked straight into the room with the concealment cabinet. Damn brat. You haven't set off yet. The moment Yen Shiguei saw me, his face instantly turned grim. Instinctively, I insisted I hadn't left yet. According to his private deal with Meiguei, if I go to 101, it is impossible to come back alive. If he returns to see him, it will only be the bloodhide sent by Chengfeng on Meiguei's orders. Father, I've already got the medicine. I took the blood loquat from my waist. Place it on the table. What did you say? Yen Shiguei was stunned at first, staring at the bottle of bright red, dark liquid. Just one glance. He was certain that it was the inner scheming skin. How did this kid come back alive? He stared in disbelief at my completely unharmed body. All kinds of speculations surfaced in his mind. How did you get it? That sister is very easy to talk to. I said my dad's leg was badly rotten. Couldn't sleep at night. She was deeply moved after hearing this. Just give it to me. Listening to my calm and unwavering Huzu, Yen Shiguei's face instantly darkened. That woman will be moved. She absolutely refused to believe such nonsense. But after seeing the blood pipa, the rock demon brain was occupied by this thing. He twisted open Musan and greedily poured it into his mouth. Soon, I smelled an extremely unpleasant odor. The smell was really fishy. It was like wine yet not quite alcohol. Why is it so tempting to the nightmare devourer? Get out. Don't be an eyesore here. Yen Shiguei's eyes began to dart around. Filled with intoxication, he spat out at me impatiently. Even if I get a screen full of snow pipa, still not receiving any kind of goodwill. In his eyes, these players were just here to serve him. If you're unhappy, just kill them. Just replace the batch. I said nothing and turned to leave the room. When closing the door, hearing Yen Shiguei's voice, both love and hate. So how exactly is the blood down there brewed? I've never tasted such wonderful wine in my life.